For those of us who, dig deep into the forgotten layers of human resilience, winter survival holds some of the most remarkable secrets. Before we get into one of the most effective cold weather techniques ever used, make sure you're subscribed to Warfield Chronicles so you never miss the buried knowledge we bring back to life. Now, let's get straight into it. The technique begins with understanding how ancient fighters created a microclimate inside their clothing. Long before synthetics and down jackets, frontline soldiers and frontier tribes relied on a banned or discouraged method in several armies because it blurred class lines and contradicted uniform regulations. They lined the inside of their clothing using natural insulation packed between two loose layers, creating a heat-trapping barrier that worked better than most military-issued garments. In some regions, soldiers used dried grasses, cattail fluff, or shredded bark fibres. In Eastern Europe, straw was the material of choice, while Scandinavian fighters preferred reindeer moss because it stayed warm even when damp. This wasn't random stuffing. They layered it so air pockets formed a thermal wall that slowed heat loss dramatically. The technique was so effective it created a literal microclimate around the body, maintaining warmth even when external temperatures dropped below freezing. Armies discouraged it because it altered uniforms and made soldiers look unofficial. Yet it remained a quiet practice on brutal winter fronts. A modern application is simple. Take a loose outer shell, even something as basic as a coat or field jacket, and line the interior with a thin cloth or t-shirt layer. Leave the bottom seam partially open. Slip in dried grass, sheep's wool, cattail fluff, or even modern equivalents like scrap fleece strips. This instantly boosts insulation without adding weight. Hikers still use a version of this today by stuffing dry vegetation between base layers when caught in unexpected cold fronts. The technique continues with the forgotten method of heat banking inside shelters. Cold weather fighters use their clothing as only one part of the system. The second part was creating a heat bank inside their shelter or dugout using stones warmed by low flames. Instead of relying on an open fire which exposed their position, they heated stones just enough to retain warmth for hours, then buried them lightly under soil, ash or fabric. The result was a safe, invisible, radiant heat source. Modern use is straightforward. Warm stones at the edge of a fire, not directly in the flames. Once hot, move them aside, brush off loose ash, and wrap them in a bandana or cloth. Place one under your feet, another at your core, and one near your sleeping area. Even in a blackout or storm, this reduces the need for heavy fuel and maintains warmth long after the fire dies. The technique ends with the pairing of both methods to stay warm with minimal resources. Historical fighters combined clothing insulation with heat banking to survive multi-day freezes with barely any fuel left. It's a system that still outperforms many modern strategies when resources are scarce. If this kind of historical fieldcraft is your passion, subscribe to Warfield Chronicles and share this guide with someone who values real, time-tested knowledge that still works today.